Hello, I've got my completed fog chiller unit here, and I thought I'd share how exactly it was I went about making it, since I think it's pretty nifty, and hopefully you will too. The design is based on others I've seen here on YouTube with a few tweaks of my own. This is obviously a ice chest as the base unit. I've seen other videos where people use these plastic storage bins. I don't think they're nearly as good because they're not insulated and you're going to have a lot more bleed of fog. So I say go with the ice chest. I prefer the rectangular shape here as opposed to the circular one. That way you can actually mount your fog machine right on top like so. And that has a couple of benefits. The first is gravity flow. By having the inflow up high and the outflow down low, you're creating a gravity system by which the fog is naturally going to want to flow out. The other benefit is that when people have these side-mounted fog machines, like that, you're going to have having a very wide footprint that you've got to have this whole contraption set up on. And if you're trying to hide this in your yard for Halloween, trying to hide it in bushes or on uneven ground, you're going to find that quite unwieldy, I think. Much better, I think, to have it right on top of the unit, so you've got one all vertical piece there. In terms of positioning your inflow, you want to have it about like this, 2 to 3 inches between your nozzle and the inflow pipe. You don't want to have it flush. If you have it flush, you're creating a vacuum. And since that fog needs air when it's being spit out so quickly to move, if it needs air and you've got it flush, what you're going to be doing is the air is going to get sucked into your outflow. You create back pressure, and that's not good for your fog chiller. Obviously I've used PVC pipe here, 2-inch for the inflow with 3 elbows, 3-inch for the outflow. Again, just the larger outflow means the fog is naturally going to want to flow that way. 3 elbows, and then here's the inflow. When you're measuring this, you want to make sure you leave an inch or two between the top of your inflow pipe there and the top of the lid when it's closed. And the idea is that the fog comes in, hits the lid, spreads out through here. You're going to have all of your ice piled up right up to here against the inflow. The fog has to move through that ice, comes in direct contact with the ice, and gets chilled. I left an area of about 3 inches down here below the mesh it's sort of an expansion chamber where the chilled fog will just settle and pool and condense before it's pushed out through the outflow. This mesh is just hard wire mesh. You can use chicken wire, anything like that you can get at the hardware store. For those who saw my last video, I was having a problem with bleed out the back here near the hinge, so I kind of created a little insulation ledge here just using some old door weather stripping. I used PVC glue for all this PVC so that it's nice and tight. You can see here that these holes are completely sealed with PVC glue. Absolutely zero bleed out there. None whatsoever. In terms of making the holes, I used hole saws. I like those because you can make a very precise hole exactly the size you want. You can use a jigsaw if you want, or if you really want to punish yourself, you can use a handsaw. The only area where I did not actually glue all the PVC pipe is this inflow section, which I'll try to remove one-handed. Unsuccessfully, it looks like. Like that. And the reason for that is so I can have versatility. If I use a different fog machine that's a different height, or I just want to change things around, I have the ability to take this piece and alter it very easily. Those pieces are just fit together snugly. And if I actually did want to side mount my fog machine, I could do so. If I wanted, I could even hook that up like that and have the fog machine there. I don't know why you wanted to do that, but you could do it. And one last thing is painting. You do want to paint your unit here because you want it to be camouflaged at night. Because it's plastic, you're going to need some kind of special plastic spray paint. Krylon Fusion is what I use, which works pretty well. One tip where I screwed up, I did not sand the ice chest before I painted it. And because these things are so smooth, the paint is just not adhering all that well. You can probably see I've already got a few scratches just because any kind of contact is going to end up pulling paint off of it. So I suggest you get a sanding block or just sandpaper and just scuff up the outside of yours before you paint it. But anyway, that is how you make what I think is the perfect fog chiller.